How are you doing, Corey?
I'm tired.
You tired? You working all day? I stayed home from work.
Yeah?
I fucked up my back yesterday.
How'd you do that?
Jogging.
That's what you get.
I guess so. But I mean, I've been icing it all day long and staying off of it, keeping it cool, keeping it clean.
Hey, there we go.
So it's starting to feel a little better. Oh, I have to stay straight. I can't bend.
I know how that goes.
Yeah. So here we are, Corey, back at Sequel Podcast
Again.
Back to our old routine of drinking a new beer every time. I once said that I was going to get you the Filipino beers, and here's the Filipino beers.
Finally.
It's Red Horse, to clarify. It's a little bit darker.
It's tasty though. It's good.
I know Dakota likes it so much so they didn't mind breaking the law to drink it. So
in the car.
Drinking it in the car while driving on the way to San Francisco. He was hoping to get lucky there. I don't know. Change his lifestyle a little bit.
Get a little road skull on the way there. Oh, fuck.
So, we've got a couple things to clarify. If you look here in the right-hand corner, it says episode 105.
What did we say last time?
Well, no. Last week we claimed episode 109. Because last year when we were doing these, I thought we were at 100 at a certain point when we started redoing them. I've gone back and I'm starting to post them back on YouTube, and I've gone through the count. And if I've done my calculations correctly, this is actually episode 105.
Well, we have some catching up to do then.
4 episodes, and that includes the commentaries. I've really had to stretch, and it's funny because there are episodes that I have that are older that I sat down with somebody for 3 hours, and it'd be episode 24 part 1, 24 part 2, 24 part 3.
Right.
So I mean, technically those can be different
Separate.
episodes, right? Yeah. So now if I were to go back and count each of those singly, we may be well over 109. But also on top of that, I'm not positive because I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm almost there, but if I go back and listen to them, I'm sure it'll say episode 24 part 2 while we're talking.
Right.
Whoever I'm talking to. So let's call this
by the new metric standard. Will be 105.
It'll be 105. And when we started last year, we were calling it Volume 3.
Right. Which we did away with the volume system. And we could say it's Volume 3. There's also one school of thought that would say it's Volume 4. So, I mean, we could have fucked up a couple times in there. So, but we're going with the original count so that we can say that we're over 100 episodes. And we'll call this 105, not 110. That's close enough.
So, another 5 weeks or so.
We'll obtain the
110
status.
Right. So we'll make that be our anniversary episode, and we'll do something special. So in 5 weeks, it'll be what? New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
Roughly. So new year, new podcast, new 110. So yeah. So I had
last
to
time we
clear up that bullshit.
Now there's no more bullshit.
No more bullshit.
Now we're on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, so anyone who's listening, who's made it to this point, who's I already listened to 105. These counts don't make any sense.
This is a podcast where the rules are made up and the numbers don't matter.
The points don't mean anything.
Unless they're against your license. How'd that go, by the way?
Hold on, I'm getting a call.
Ding dong. Somebody's
Hello?
on the phone.
Hey, is everything okay?
Live caller.
Oh, that's Corey. We're podcasting. Everything okay? Okay. Oh, you mean a dentist cleaning? Sure, I guess. Okay. I've already got a cleaning appointment for next week.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Love you too. Bye.
That's right. All right.
She could have just texted me that.
But texting is so impersonal.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Anyways, you started to say last week.
I was going to say last week we started kind of catching up all the missed activities over the last 6 or 8 months or better.
Yeah.
Trying to.
I think we left out a couple of things.
Well, we covered the series of movies that didn't get made. We covered the movie that we did make, however, in slight detail.
Also, well, your son went to a birthday party in
Yeah.
September.
We had the birthday party.
How was that?
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what else did we do?
We did a Halloween
We
party.
did the Halloween party.
How was that?
That was entertaining.
Yeah.
I enjoyed dressing up for Halloween.
And who are you?
I was Captain Spaulding, which I thought I did a pretty good job.
You know,
I was gonna go the full yard. I was gonna go the full yard and either do like a straight up bald cap that like looked legit, or just shave my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I pussed out.
Now the costume that you wore, now the makeup was fine. I don't believe I ever seen
The
Captain Spaulding wearing overalls.
The costume was kind of more of an homage,
right? So like
to a costume he did wear in the movie,
like a redneck kind of.
He was. I forget if it was Devil's Rejects was when he was wearing it, but at one point in the movie, and it was without the makeup more so.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like the
Yeah,
makeup.
he had no makeup in Devil's.
Right. So he was wearing. They were like a tan, like a dry duck color, coveralls or overalls.
Did he wear
He
overalls?
was
Really?
wearing-
Okay. Let's see. I need to watch again.
With one of the straps off, and then I didn't have the long sleeve, like kind of a thermal shirt that I wanted to wear.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it was already wrecked and it was dirty and grubby looking, and it would have been perfect. It would have, I didn't have the right color of everything, but
It's funny in House of Thousand Corpses. He's wearing his clown suit at the beginning of the movie in like the James Bond mini movie pre-credit sequence.
Right.
And then for the rest of the movie, he's got like pajama pants and like a t-shirt.
T-shirt with the little pig thing.
Yeah.
On it. Yeah.
Because when it cuts to black at the end of that, he's like, "Oh, you got blood all over my favorite clown suit too." So you can only assume that's why he's not wearing it anymore. Right. But he never ever changes back into it.
Right.
So I guess he only has the one.
The one clown suit.
He's only got the one clown suit, and he has to get it dry cleaned, presumably.
Right. So
yeah,
it was kind of a mashup of his wardrobe, but.
How was it seeing the old crew? You saw a couple of the movie crew.
Yeah.
Maybe you met a couple new people.
Yeah, I met a couple of new people. I don't remember their names because.
Let's see. You never
there was
met
a lot of people that were dressed up.
You'll never remember their faces.
I'll never remember their faces.
Yeah.
So.
Old crew, Wes Martina.
Yeah.
Wes, you worked on in the movie, if you remember.
I do. Remember.
He's the guy that says, "You're him.
You're him.
You're him. You're the killer. Freddy sent you."
A wonderful actor he is. He's a good man, though.
He is. He's a good guy. It took a little coaching, and even then,
yeah,
we did the best that we could. But maybe we were asking too much. His part got steadily longer and bigger with each script.
Each script, he became more of a centerpiece. So.
Like he became like, I think it was me and then him for lines and then you. And which is funny because I've got the most, so it stands to reason that the guy that's in the same scene with me the entire movie would have the second most.
Right.
Because he just keeps talking, and then you don't come in for maybe the first 30 pages or so.
Yeah, and I had.
But you finish it out.
A few lines, but I was in for quite a bit of it. So.
You were my number 2.
Number 2.
My man on the saddle, I guess.
That's right.
I think I made that up, but still, it sounded good when I said it.
Number 2.
All right. So, have you watched any movies lately?
So, I haven't gotten to either of the 2 that you gave me this last
You haven't
week.
watched either of those movies.
We didn't cover the stuff that we talked about last time talking about.
Yeah, but if we were to cover Whiplash, it would have been nice for you to have seen at least Inside Llewyn Davis.
Right.
Because they're both musical films.
That's true. That would have been nice.
So you didn't watch anything?
No.
You
know
cocksucker.
what? I thought it would be cool because we still didn't talk about Mutant Chronicles or...
No. We covered Mutant Chronicles.
Did we really?
We covered it because I didn't think it was that great.
That's right.
So I wouldn't have had
nothing but bitch about it.
I wouldn't have
but
had
we
a
didn't
lot
cover
of
Doctor Strange.
No, we didn't cover Doctor Strange, and we didn't cover Whiplash.
So
I guess we can cover Whiplash and Doctor Strange and whatever else we get to. It would have been nice if you would have watched Knight Riders.
You know, I wanted to, and I just didn't have time yesterday.
The movie's long too. It's 2.5 hours long. I don't know why it needs to be that long.
I think Whiplash had some stuff in it that was... I kind of was proving a point, with some of the scenes in there that weren't
too long,
100% necessary, but...
Which ones? I mean, I'm all for movies being short.
Yeah, no, I don't
honestly,
think
it was short in my
it was relatively short.
In my opinion, because it wasn't 2 hours. It was like $1.45.
Yeah.
Or less.
Which is right about where you like to be.
Right. At the most. Because I'm sitting there for 2 hours. I feel the movie's already kind of done a lot in the first hour.
Mm-hmm. And then you get stuck with 2 more hours.
It's like, come on. It's like you had an idea for a movie, you had an idea for another movie, and you're like, well, it's not enough for a full movie. Let's just put the 2 ideas together. And then suddenly you've got too much to write.
Right. Well, and you have too much for the viewer to expect to comprehend.
Right.
At the same time.
First 45 minutes, they're looking for this one guy. They find him. He tells them to go look for another guy for the next 45 minutes. That guy says, go look for this other guy for the next 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you got to find the last guy and the reason why you were doing everything for the next 45 minutes.
Yeah. And it gets cumbersome, I think.
And you lose track of whose names are who.
Yeah, and I find that a lot with some of the more recent films where it's not like characters you're already familiar with, like Batman versus Superman. We kind of already know who all those people are.
Right. If they've got their code names, their alter egos, it's real easy. But when it's like Dr. and there's like 5 other doctors also.
Exactly.
With just as established names that are crazy like that.
Yeah. So, it makes it hard to comprehend all their names when you have
and if you don't know the actor who's playing them also.
Yes. And I'm terrible with names of characters in movies anyway, because I don't commit that part to my memory. I'm more...
If you watch it enough. Well, see, now...
Yeah, if I watched it a couple of times, then I'd probably get it. But
now we live in this really kind of weird world. I used to be able to sit down and watch a movie end on end. Okay.
Right.
But with cell phones, I've lost some of my... See, I can't even think. I've lost a lot because of cell phones. What is it? The attention span. I lost some of my attention span.
Right, because you can switch gears so fast.
Right,
you're looking at Facebook and you're checking on everybody's shit. And
right, you hear this, you hear this and that, and
you watch 20 videos in the space of 10 minutes. Because they're less than 5 seconds long, and you just have this constant flow of little bitty entertainment.
Right, and if you're watching a movie, it's like, oh, what was that guy in? What else was he in? Who wrote this movie again? What else did that guy write?
Yeah, and you get on a tangent.
What's the trivia behind this? There's got to be a story behind this scene.
Uh-huh.
Oh, did I just see so-and-so? Was he in this? And suddenly...
Then you're looking shit up while you're watching the movie.
And now I'm playing catch-up at the same time, because I'll go to Wikipedia and start reading the description of what I've just watched or what I've just missed.
Right.
So I'm basically reading what the movie is about while I'm watching it. Which is fucked up. And if I go to the movies by myself, I'll do that too.
Yeah.
If I'm with somebody, I won't.
Yeah.
But if I'm by myself, I'm on my phone. I sit up in the back, I'm on my phone, I'm looking up shit.
See, and I find I'm a terrible movie partner. I think.
Yeah.
I think I've realized that over, the last year, because Patrick and I go to the movies together a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and
You annoy the piss out of him?
I don't know that I annoy
No, when
him.
we say Patrick, we mean
Black Trick.
Black Patrick.
But yeah, he and I have seen quite a few films, new films that have been out over the last year or so, and I don't know. I don't know if it's our relationship. Like, we talk about things.
You and
Like,
me, or
like
you
if
and
you
I?
if you and I went to the movies, I would probably want to talk to you during the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that that's like poor form
It's the
to talk during the
faux
movie.
pas.
Yeah, but I find that I do it, and then
Is
I
he
also
like? He's just like, "Shut up, I'm watching the movie."
no, he's cool about it. And
Well, you
like
can see he's
sometimes
anxious for you to shut up.
sometimes he says shit too, so it's like, but I'm conscious of it, so I try to like, okay, I would say that, but I'm not gonna say it. Like, I don't know. And then
Have we ever been to a movie?
I don't think you and I have ever seen a movie together.
We ran into each other at Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, we did.
But yeah, I don't think
Maybe we could go see G2 when it comes out.
Guardians 2?
Yeah.
Maybe. Or something
Yeah,
else.
or something else.
more important than Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I mean, that's kind of obvious movie.
It is kind of
Like, that's obviously
like,
going to make a
like,
gajillion
it's like-
dollars. It's obviously going to be good.
the first Guardians came out, and everybody's like, "What's that? That looks awesome!" And then a fucking billion people turned out to see it, and it made a shit ton of money. And everybody's like, "Oh, the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy, it was great!" And then all of a sudden, it's this fan favorite, and people are like looking for the old comics, and they're picking up on all the missed history that they didn't go into the movie with.
Right, 'cause it's not Iron Man.
Yes, it's not Iron Man, it's not Batman,
It's not Spider-Man.
it's not Spider-Man,
It's not the X-Men.
It's none of that. It's just like
Random characters, randomly put
characters.
together.
and very, I don't know. Like, I love the characters in that movie. But
Maybe you
very
just love the
strange.
writing. Some
It
other
might be.
asshole could have came in and took those characters,
it could be
and it could have been very dry and very boring. But James Gunn is an amazing director,
true.
an amazing writer. Have you seen Slither?
Slither. That's that creepy like snake bug movie or something like
Yeah,
something I haven't seen it.
he wrote and directed that, and it's funny as fuck. It's
Is it?
amazing. Like, if only Guardians of the Galaxy were like an R-rated movie.
Right.
Like, if he would have written it that and made that at the same time.
That's what I loved about Deadpool. It's like, let's get out of this fucking kiddie sandbox and let's have a grown-up movie.
Well, comics are like that.
Sure. I mean,
Comics are violent.
The original Ninja Turtles comics
Right.
were insanely more violent than any of the cartoons.
They're
ever supposed to
using
be.
bladed weapons.
Oh yeah,
A sword.
yeah. Where you would with a katana, you would cut a person in half.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like literally cut their body in half and spill their guts out.
What is a sai going to do but stab somebody?
Yeah, and nunchucks, you're gonna bludgeon somebody to death
Same with the bow staff.
Yeah. So, and I think
And the toys came with even more violent weapons. Like, they would come with this. I've looked it up before, and the name escapes me, but it's got like, it's a wooden handle, and then it's got a blade that comes up to the top, and then alongside the blade, it's got another blade that kind of curves out to the side.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I don't know.
And that was kind of like the generic weapon that came with every single one of those action figures.
Right.
No matter who you got, that was like the extra
the
accessory.
extra weapon. Yeah. Well, and I think that was.
You might want to watch that.
Oh yeah, making noise, dumbass. As a generic comment, Batman versus Superman. We didn't get a chance to talk about that. That was kind of in our hiatus.
I need to watch it again.
But
I saw that in
And-
Japan.
generally, general statement wise, I'm not going to talk about plot points or characters or anything, but generally, it was a more violent Batman than we usually see. Even though there's
You
karate
should just stop
and there's
talking
stuff.
now.
I'm
No, you
just
should
saying.
just stop talking
I'm
now
just
because
saying.
I can go into this and we won't stop.
Okay,
That's
a whole nother day.
That's a whole other day. We were talking about Guardians. We're talking about violent, R-rated comic book movies.
I'm
And,
just
Deadpool
want to
needed
give a
that.
little bit of props to Batman versus Superman for going there to show
So pushing that PG-13
pushing that
to the
PG-13 to where it should be, maybe something a little higher, because think about the things that Batman does to his to the enemy, to the bad guys, people are gonna die. Like, you don't realize when you're kicking people's ass that you're, high impact, very blunt force trauma.
That's what sucks. Is like I don't think Batman is not an R-rated movie audience, but it is an adult content comic book audience.
It is.
And you can't and Deadpool is an R-rated movie audience. Like, you can't really do Deadpool PG-13. But I also feel like because it was the R-rated comic book movie, that it might have, might have got ahead of itself and gotten its own way a little bit. Now, I like Deadpool. Okay, I don't think there's really anything wrong with it. I mean, one problem I would have with Deadpool is it was 2 movies put together, because the entire action of the movie takes place, and then sporadically spread throughout is also the flashbacks.
Yeah, so there's the origin story versus the current day.
Instead of origin and then the movie continues along with the origin. But it is current, so it's real time with flashbacks in it, because when he's Deadpool looking for Homeboy and everything, that all is currently happening. He doesn't take a day, take a nap or anything like that. It just flows. But then we're constantly pulled back into
and you finally catch up.
Right. So that's what my problem was. It felt like 2 movies. Even though it was short, it was a short movie.
Right.
It did feel like 2 movies, and it kind of dragged a little bit like that. I feel no matter how long the movie is, if there is too much information and too much things going on, and constantly people moving here to here to here to here, that it starts to drag a little bit.
Right.
And I'm not trying to say Deadpool sucks because of it, but I do feel like that was one of its faults. In my opinion.
If you had to pick something.
Right, but Joe Schmo, I go and watch movies no matter what it is, won't pick up on that, and they'll love it, and which is why it is the highest rated, or highest money-making R-rated film of all time, or something like that.
Right. Well, and I'm kind of in that category of Joe Schmo. Go watch a movie, and I'm sure I've said this on various other podcasts that we've done.
Well, it's like that thing. It's if I said, "Hey, Corey, go buy us some food. Go buy us some snacks or something like that, something to eat," or if I said, "Corey, here's $1,000. Go buy us some food."
Right.
Right.
Different story.
You could easily go and buy the same food you would if I didn't give you any money, but you got $1,000. Why not just buy everything? And suddenly there's too much food for us to eat. Maybe there's some we don't like. Maybe suddenly now we're
we're wasting it.
Right, and that's kind of how I felt with Deadpool. The idea of
there was too much to take in, and some of it was wasted because of
no. Like saying hey, go ahead and make the R-rated Deadpool you want to make, and suddenly they're like kids in the candy shop, and they may be overdoing it a little bit on the R rating rather than thinking artistically, how can we make this an R-rated film without feeling like we can just say fuck every other line.
Well, and you can, but it's like you said, being tasteful, even when you're allowed to do it. It doesn't have to feel wasted. It doesn't have to feel expected. Right. They put every dirty comment, joke, and pretty much slur that you could throw in to something like that. Which, I talk like that anyway, so
Deadpool would have been a far better movie R-rated in the 80s than it would be today.
Because it would have been way more reined in.
It wouldn't even necessarily be reined in, but it would be more practical. And that's what the thing is. It's we can put blood everywhere.
Right.
But it's all CG blood.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see a gritty rather than a shiny. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that's where, you and I are both fans of practical.
Practical and not shiny. I don't want to see shiny Deadpool. I want to see dark and gritty.
Right.
It was a shiny Deadpool in an R-rated world. Oreo, stop it. And now it just sounds like I'm ragging on Deadpool. I liked Deadpool. Just for the record, I liked Deadpool. I thought it was good.
And before they made it, I thought it was a bad idea to make it. And I thought it was a bad idea to make it with Ryan Reynolds. And I thought it was a bad idea to make it R-rated for all these various reasons. Because I thought maybe it would be like, you get your way too much and you don't appreciate it enough.
Right. And I honestly, with all the other shit that Ryan Reynolds has done, that from from certain perspectives, you know,
you think
not
that's the best
awful. Oh yeah, all day long.
Oh, that's not where you were going then.
No, but what I'm saying is, I'm not going to say that, you know, his Green Lantern was terrible or his
Green Lantern wasn't terrible.
No, it wasn't. But what I'm saying
the movie
is,
wasn't that great.
The movie wasn't great, but he did a good job, and I like him as an actor anyway.
And the director's fine too. I think
Sure.
the writing, and I think the money gets in the way a lot of the times.
Yeah. Well, and then
There's pressure to make the money back, and there's pressure to use the money correctly.
right.
You know, like
Well, and the studio gets in the way of that.
it's like if I were to give you $100 and say go buy some garbage bags, suddenly you go in the store and like, am I supposed to buy 100 garbage bags? Am I supposed to buy the most expensive garbage bags? I mean, I know these ones do the job just as much. So
Right.
it's the idea that
and that's where studio production gets in its own way, like you've been saying, and guys like us, where we think like that, like you hand me $100, you say, "Hey Corey, go grab some garbage bags. We're gonna clean up the yard. We need garbage bags." I'm just gonna go buy what I know works, and maybe I buy a lot more of them, but I'm gonna bring you $80.
opposed to
I can
here's
go buy
$80 million to make this movie, and suddenly it's like I've got to use every penny. I don't understand how that works. I don't understand how like someone is given an amount of money to make a movie, like studio movies, essentially only really. They give you a budget of $80 million,
and you have to,
and it always goes over.
Right.
It always goes over. But you've got these independent movies where you hear that it was 1.5, and you're reading stories about how they had this much money from here, and they had to stop and get more money, rather than like one studio is giving you $80. Like, you know, you give your son $20 to go buy something at the store for his allowance, but he sees something that's $25.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I can kind of get where that comes from, and it does. It comes from having money and thinking.
Whereas I tell you to bake a cake and give you $20, and you're like, well, I got enough ingredients for everything but the milk.
Right.
And you need that extra money, that extra $2 to get the milk.
Because without the milk,
cake.
you don't make cake.
Right.
So
what are we even talking about?
we're talking about
metaphor.
Metaphorically, you're the one that went on the fucking garbage bag rant.
No, but it's true though.
Yeah, and you know, I was talking about how I like Ryan Reynolds. Deadpool, obviously, I think best film out of the slew there. Like out of his choices.
Waiting's pretty good.
It's not a bad film. I like that one also. You can't put it next to Deadpool. It's different, yeah.
But that's what he did. That's the prequel. Is Waiting, and Deadpool's the sequel.
But no, I like him. I think he was an excellent choice.
I mean, in all honesty, like
I don't know who I would have picked.
His entire career
right.
was leading up to him playing Deadpool.
Well, and he's just.
There really isn't somebody else.
He has that kind of humor anyway. Like, if he were to do stand-up, does he do stand-up?
No, he's not stand-up.
Okay. But if he did, he would sound like Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the character I see him playing if he was to play himself. So I think, you know, hats off.
Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
Yeah, you found your part. Just like, I think, fucking Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman
is Wolverine. You know, he is that guy.
Weren't we talking about that last week? I was talking to somebody.
No, but Logan is coming up soon.
I was talking to somebody, and I thought, thinking about it now, I thought it was you, is that Hugh Jackman almost didn't even end up being.
I think we mentioned it, but I don't think we went into
because it was, did you see Mission Impossible 2? Probably.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. The movie sucks. It's terrible.
Yeah.
The bad guy in that was supposed to play Wolverine. He had the job. But Mission Impossible 2 ran over. Couldn't use him anymore. Last minute choice, Hugh Jackman. And now he's almost the only, but he's exclusively been Wolverine since like 97.
I was going to say.
like 20 years.
Yeah, for a long ass time.
for 20 years because I saw that movie before going into high school.
Right.
So
and great choice.
I mean,
Even if
he's tall, like Wolverine's a short guy. That's like one of the biggest bitches that people have. But even I don't care.
But still,
he was great.
He's put in the work and the effort in the gym.
Oh
to
yeah,
make his body type correct for the part. Obviously, his facial hair grow is fucking awesome. I mean, it's for Wolverine is two things. It's the body type and the chops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And his face is shaped correctly. His hair does the right thing.
No, he's a good Wolverine. Logan's going to be the next R-rated fucking comic book movie. It's not even really because the first Punisher, not the Dolph Lundgren one in the 80s, but the Thomas Jane one's R-rated.
Right. Okay.
And so the second Punisher too, Warzone, is also R-rated.
Not my favorite movie ever.
And
not horrible, but not my favorite.
And that Thomas Jane Punisher, it's a perfect example. Is it's not a hard R. It's a soft R.
Right. But
it's R-rated.
It feels good.
It does feel good. But they didn't go overboard. Whereas
I've seen some PG-13s where you go, it should probably been R. But I've seen some R's going, where's the R?
Well, it's like the funny thing is you can go and you can shoot the Holocaust PG-13 as long as you don't show any blood.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not about body
like
count.
If you watch like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I think it was that second one. Like the opening of that movie is they're hanging a bunch of pirates, and I think they're hanging a little kid too.
Right.
But it's a PG-13 movie. They don't show any
Disney
blood.
PG-13.
It's a Disney PG-13 movie. So that's the thing is like, why is there a line if I can kill a bunch of people?
I can kill kids,
and
but
the difference is whether I throw some red paint out there.
Right.
So, like, if I were to go and it's like there's a pile of dead bodies and I took a bucket of paint and I threw it on them, would they feel that that's too much? Like, even if you see me with a bucket of red paint on camera and I throw it at a pile of dead bodies,
is that the line?
Would they say, like, that's too much like blood? I know it's just paint, but whatever. So, anyways, that fucking threw me off now.
Yeah, no, and that is the question. Where is the line? Our stuff goes in the R pile for language.
You and me?
Well, our
that's what I was going to talk about too.
Films.
That's what I was going to talk about too. Why can't and it sucks because so a studio will be like, make a PG-13, we get more ticket sales. Okay?
Sure.
And that's the thing. But I think it would be, and who cares what I think, right? It's what I'm going to say right now is not going to.
It's not going to change the world.
It's not going to change the world. But like, write a movie, make the movie. This is where censorship comes in. And that's the biggest thing. You watch this movie. Thank you for. What is it called? This movie is not yet rated, and it's a documentary about the MPAA and the rating system.
Okay.
And it's so funny, because you watch it, documentary, and the guy goes over movie clips and he's talking to filmmakers and showing all this, and he will submit the current documentary, and where he's trashing MPAA and he's calling out MPAA and saying all the stupid hypocrisies and the bullshit that they have, and then he'll take his movie and he will submit it to the MPAA. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You talk about fucking.
It's like, Corey, I'm going to write this about you, but I want you to proofread it for me.
Right. You're a piece of shit and you're a bastard.
I'm not asking for any editorializing.
No, I just need you to proofread it.
Yeah.
Just to make sure I spelled everything correctly and everything's good. But
it's fun. You should check that out. If it's still, I watched it on Netflix. If it's still on Netflix, watch.
Okay.
This film was not yet rated because it's fucked up. And as I was saying, like, it would be nice just to write a movie without any stipulation, okay, and then make the movie, all right, and then have the movie, and then like maybe there will be alternate takes or something like that. I remember when Die Hard 4 came out and it was PG-13. It was not R-rated.
Right.
Whereas the previous three were. And that was a different world. You can make R-rated movies in the 80s and then in the 90s. But then suddenly
everybody got all soft.
Everyone got soft and everyone wants to make money. They're like, why don't we make Die Hard 4? All the old people who like the other ones will see it, and all the kids who are 13 years around there could also go see it. And I remember Casey was like, no, just watch the unrated version. It's just like how it would be with all the fucks in there. And it's really not.
Right.
I mean, I'd have to watch it again, but it didn't make the movie any better.
Right.
Which is another thing. Also, fucks don't make a movie better. Blood does not make a movie better. It's quality.
It's overall quality and direction and writing and everything. It's everything.
Right.
Everything makes the movie, but you can't just add something to it or take something away from it to make it better or worse.
Absolutely. It's not Deadpool would have been great if it's only great because the fucks are in there. It's only great because the violence is in there.
Exactly, because none of those things is standalone the best part of the movie. You know, Ryan Reynolds and the profanity, his delivery of the profanity, he could have said no profanity.
Right.
And his delivery of the material.
Like, they could have made a movie that was PG-13 because that whole movie it's making fun of a lot of other shit. It's making fun of original Wolverine, the one that he was in. You know, it's making fun of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Like, they could have made the same movie PG-13 making fun of the fact that it's not R-rated, and it would have still been the same movie.
Exactly. Just like in, was it Avengers or was it Civil War? When...
well, I know Avengers 2, you're watching this movie. It's got all this great action. It's this huge action scene where they're battling...
like right at the beginning, they're in like Russia or something.
Right. And the first line of the movie is shit! When Iron Man, like, hits the force field.
Right. And then Captain America is giving him a hard time.
Right,
and
it's
then
like,
for
language.
the rest of the movie, this is the joke about watching your language.
Right. But
so
the first line of that movie is shit.
And it's hilarious.
Because Joss Whedon wrote that, and I know for a fact that's probably why he did that. Because that's what Joss Whedon does. Is he likes to turn things on its ear.
But you get a little bit of shock factor from saying shit first line of the movie.
Yes.
Outright.
I don't think a lot of people notice or even think about that, though.
Probably not. But you get that. You get like this little surprise. It's like, okay, what direction are we going in? And then the whole rest of the movie is either Cap giving them hard time for their language, or them giving Cap a hard time for being the language police. Right? So you have both jokes that go both ways.
I don't think he ever gives them a hard time. I don't think he ever stops them again. I think he realized his mistake.
He said that the first time, but the rest of the movie, they're giving him shit for having said something about their language, which I think is a great turnabout of the joke.
It's fun.
It makes it continually fun.
Where were we going?
We were talking about the rating system and writing.
Everything.
We've been all over.
These are the good podcasts where you're not trying to generate content unorganically.
Wherever we go is where we end up. So
right, and I think it's good.
Absolutely.
So Whiplash.
Whiplash.
Oh no, you were asking me about my ticket situation, didn't I?
Oh no, I didn't find out how.
I called them up and paid it.
Oh, okay, good.
I still haven't gotten anything in the mail, by the way.
Yeah, they usually don't.
Okay.
They're like this.
Well, shit. If I would never have looked at it,
yeah,
and they never would have sent anything, I would have missed my call date.
Warrant! I got warrants! I'm Black Gallagher, bitch!
What is that?
Fucking Dave Chappelle.
Is it?
Yeah. He did a thing where
he was Black Gallagher?
Black Gallagher. You ready to smash some fruit?
I'm gonna have to look that up.
It's hilarious.
I love Gallagher.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so we got a lot of things to talk about. SNL, I asked you to watch because I watched it.
Right, I watched the monologue.
We talked
about that.
You watched the piano. You watched her playing the piano?
No.
You didn't, what the fuck did you watch then?
I watched the clips.
You didn't go to Hulu?
I just got Hulu yesterday.
Oh, okay. So you didn't have Hulu.
I didn't have Hulu.
All right, you're off the hook.
I am on Hulu now.
I assumed that you had every single streaming application.
I just realized, and a new show, by the way, that I'm
watching.
I've seen one episode, the first episode, and I'm fucking hooked.
It's not Man in the High Castle, is it?
No, I haven't seen that yet. Although the cover looks good, and you end up judging like oddball shows on Netflix and Hulu and
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. But you end up judging all these things by their cover, and I've watched some really
not
great stuff. And I hate to say like really shitty B content because B content can be good too, but some of the stuff that you can tell
Some's
was
bad, some's good. It's all on your opinion. Dude.
Exactly, and it's all how you read it.
The world loved Avatar, and I hated it.
Yeah, see, and I love the movie. But
the world loves Transformers, and I hate it.
I don't know if I love Transformers, but I didn't mind it.
But you know what? I'm married to somebody who likes movies like that, so I get it.
Yeah,
I see it,
and it's being able to enjoy a movie for what it is.
No.
Instead of for what it.
You went too far. It's just being able to enjoy a movie. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Because you don't have to pick it apart.
No, and
and
Rose
like
isn't.
everything about
She's not stupid or anything like that.
Rose
She's very
is
smart.
a very smart lady.
But she's kind of like Transformers.
Yeah, well, she probably read 50 Shades of Grey too.
She didn't read it, but she likes that movie. She read it.
There you go.
That one
So
did.
there's no accounting for taste.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude.
But.
And the next one's coming out. I'm hoping to skate by without
having to go see it.
I haven't seen a trailer yet. Okay, we go to the movies all the time. I haven't seen a trailer for it yet. I'm hoping that I don't have to see it.
I haven't been forced to see.
That was like our first date was 50 Shades of Grey.
Wow.
Because we started in February.
Right.
And Valentine's Day is like right at the beginning of February.
50 Shades of Grey.
And that's when it came out,
Right.
was Friday the 13th. And then the next day was Valentine's Day. So that was like our first big thing.
Right.
And the movie's terrible. And you know what? Like, 50 Shades of Grey started out as like Twilight fan fiction.
Right.
And you watch
It
the movie
feels like
and
it's-
you see it there. You see it in there. You see how that was Twilight.
It's like R-rated Twilight.
Without vampires. And I don't know what I'd rather watch. You know, I put Twilight on one day because they've got them. You know, I inherited it by marriage.
Right.
It's in my movie collection now. And
Have you read any of the books? Just
no, I
interruption.
haven't read any of
The
them.
writing's actually pretty good.
Really? Are you sure?
I'm not going to say it's great.
I thought the writing
It's
was
kind
good.
of mind dribble, but it is.
I know
There's
that
a
fucking
lot in
50
there.
Shades fucking writing is pretty garbage.
I haven't read any of that.
You know what's funny is because
Is it the same person?
no, it's not the same
Okay.
person. But you know what's funny is the other vampire shit, True Blood.
Okay.
The
The wife loves that shit.
The books now, True Blood shows okay, but the books, the writing is bad in those books.
But they made it
They-
okay.
They made it okay.
The
Like
TV
honestly,
show.
if you watch the TV show, it's very complicated. It's very ornate. It's very soap opera-y.
Sure.
If you read the books, it's like 300 pages of just what the main plot is. It's like nothing. It's just one kind of thing, but there's all kinds of different things going on in the show.
Right.
You know. But anyways, 50 Shades. Oh no, Twilight. I haven't read the books.
Yeah,
And you
I
said the writing's
haven't. I haven't read the books,
You watched the movies?
but
All of them?
I have not seen. I've seen most of them.
I put that first one on just while I was cleaning up, right when we first started moving in
Right.
here, unpacking things. It was on the TV, just because I hadn't seen it.
Right.
You know, I'm sorting all the DVDs. Okay, here's ones that she had that I haven't seen that maybe I want to watch.
Right.
I put it on just because, and it's. I didn't sit down and watch it, but I might go back and sit down and watch it.
It's tolerable. It's not completely awful. The actor that plays the girl, I don't care for.
Kristen Stewart.
I don't really care for her that
Right,
much.
and you know that's one of the things that you always hear about is how fucking mannequin she is.
She's very mannequin, but in that movie it works. Like she's supposed to be like that, and then you see her in other shit, and you're like, wow.
No
Just-
range.
That's all you. That's all you do. That's all you know how to do. Which hey, you know what? She's getting work. I'm not.
No
But-
shit, right?
That's fine.
How
And-
is
and
she getting work when I'm not?
It's fine with
And
me.
you know, we
because
talk about this
people-
all the time.
we do.
Like, how are these garbage movies fucking getting out there? And we spend our time and we make a movie that is not that bad,
Yeah,
and it's sitting here on my computer doing nothing.
exactly. Anyway,
Although
the
we do
movie-
have two.
We do.
We have two. No, hold on. We've got two submissions that we're still waiting on
Two that are still out to.
consideration.
Okay, cool.
I'm hoping that Tokyo Liftoff one comes on because I really want to go back to Japan.
Give you a good reason.
Yeah.
And they like stuff that's a little different than the
I
American
fucking
audience.
hope so because I think I submitted to 3 of those liftoffs. There's like a bunch of liftoffs.
Yeah.
And the other ones were like, no.
I'm sorry.
I think I did like maybe an LA liftoff or something. A couple of different states left off in the Tokyo one.
So the other show.
Okay, yes,
on
the show.
Hulu. Black Patrick turned me on to it. Lethal Weapon.
They made a Lethal Weapon TV show?
TV show.
What? How could I have not heard about this?
I know. This is the first I've heard of it.
What?
Patrick and I went to see Doctor Strange, and then we stopped off at the house. We were bullshitting a little bit, and he's like, "Dude, you gotta see this." And he turns it on, and it's.
How can you stop off at the house when you literally live on the other side of the state?
When we go to the movies, I go to his house.
Oh, you stopped off at his house.
Yeah, and I go to his house, and we take his car to the movies, and then we come back.
Okay, so you stopped off at his house, not stopped off at your house.
At his house, we stopped off. I said the house, not my house.
Right, I can only
So we
assume
stopped off
yours.
at Patrick's house.
There you go.
And
because when you say the house, that's ownership right there.
His house. So Patrick, he puts this on. He puts this on, and it's
Did just
Damon,
you and him
is
go?
it Damon Wayans? Yeah, just Patrick and I.
Oh, I thought you were with maybe your wife too.
No, she saw the preview. She wasn't really that interested.
Oh my gosh, she was so into it. Every week she was like, "When is that? Oh, let's go see that Doctor movie."
Because let's go see that. You know that.
What's that movie? That's
I think
she
that
was super into that.
I think she would enjoy Guardians.
Yeah,
we're gonna watch Guardians.
She's not actiony. See, Rose loves action movies.
She doesn't mind it. She likes it better when people everybody doesn't die.
No. Rose loves fucking action movies, and then she loves romance movies. Nothing in between. I mean, it kind of comes out dramas, comedies, and then no horror.
Yeah, the wife doesn't like horror. I don't really, I've admitted this before. I don't really care for horror.
Right.
But that doesn't mean, like we said, that I can't enjoy a horror movie.
Right. A good movie's a good movie. That's all there is to it.
And I usually don't go after a horror movie going, oh my god, I have to see that. But I'll watch one.
I don't do that anymore.
If it's around.
Garbage comes out nowadays.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's something that somebody's like, oh, you gotta fucking see this, then I'll watch it, or I'll watch it with somebody. But
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon. Damon Wayans.
Is it Damon Wayans? Or is it a different Wayans?
It's one of the Wayans brothers.
Which one is it?
The bald one.
That's
the one that played Blank Man.
That's Damon Wayans. Damon Wayans is playing fucking...
He plays Riggs.
Is it Riggs or Murtaugh?
Or Murtaugh.
I think he plays Murtaugh.
Riggs is a white guy.
Don't be racist.
I am.
So who's playing Riggs?
A guy I recognize, but I don't
Hold
remember his
on.
name. We should look it up.
I'm gonna look this shit up, dude. That's fucked up. They made a Lethal.
You know what, dude? I was like, okay, this is gonna be a fucking
Look
joke.
at this. It is Damon Wayans.
I'm like, this is gonna be a joke. This can't be that good.
Is that Christian Slater? No, it's not Christian Slater.
It does look like Christian Slater's younger brother or something, though.
Clayne Crawford. Because just looking at the poster of them two laughing it up, he looked like
this show
Christian Slater.
Is fucking hilarious.
It's funny.
It's funny. It plays like a movie.
I was always wondering what happens to fucking Damon Wayans.
Every episode plays like a movie.
Like its own little movie.
It just feels like a movie. It's that good, and I don't know if it's because Damon Wayans is in it or the pace of the writing, the way things are shot together. It doesn't feel like a series setting. Like it feels like a movie, almost.
This guy's in nothing that I've ever seen.
But I think, worth a watch.
I guess I'll look at it.
I'll just watch the first episode.
I'll watch the first episode. That's fucked up, though. That they made a Lethal Weapon fucking TV show.
It is.
Not in a fucked up bad kind of way, but it's just strange.
It is weird. And it comes back to what the fuck is going on with movies. Okay, new content, what do we have?
For movies?
New pop culture, new content.
Everything. It's TV. It's all TV. Everything is TV.
Everything is TV. Movies,
I know, because I live with this. I've got a teenage stepdaughter that her phone is always on, and it's always a TV show. She's always running through shows. Whenever she's got breaks, she's fucking binging through seasons of everything.
But we see movies that are coming out, and they're remakes of this movie, a remake of that movie,
Sequels,
or a sequel of this movie that's, or everything. It just seems like being done over again and over again and over again. Okay, Doctor Strange, I say that's pretty fresh.
Right.
Still kind of, it's in the universe, but Doctor Strange is fresh for movie content. It just looks
like another superhero movie. It honestly does. And it's sad to say that because I really, really liked it.
I liked it.
But honestly, like I can't kind of turn my brain off for a shitty Transformers, but I can turn my brain off for a good superhero.
But superheroes are built in a universe where that stuff exists. And that's supposed to be the way it is.
You know what's so funny is because Rose won't like comedies if she thinks it's unbelievable.
Like
Horrible Bosses.
I wanted to see that, and I haven't watched it yet.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it yet.
She thought it was unbelievable. She thought, like, it's crazy. Like, have you seen Blazing Saddles?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't think she was going to like that. I put it on when Homeboy died. Gene Wilder died.
Right.
I put it on. Okay, and she sat down and she watched it with me. And I was like, she's not going to like it. Because she doesn't like stupid comedies. And that's a stupid comedy. I mean, it's well written by Mel Brooks, but it's got that slapsticky, spoofy, and it's got fourth wall breaking.
It's Mel Brooks. That's the kind of shit he's always.
Because we went to go see one of her Filipino movies that was a comedy, and and she's like, I don't like shit like this. So we walked out after the first 5 minutes.
Wow.
And went and seen something else. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna like it. But she actually liked that. But then she like Horrible Bosses. She just thought it was. Like, if it gets too goofy for her, even though Blazing Saddles apparently wasn't goofy enough for her.
I guess.
She just thought the idea of them killing their bosses or something. She didn't like it. I didn't watch it with her.
Right.
But I was just one day, I was like, hey, I've never seen Horrible Bosses 2. And she was like, oh, I didn't like the first one. Because it just wasn't real enough. It was too out there of a concept.
Does she like Hot Tub Time Machine?
I watched that with her the day before we started dating. That was one of those lead-in things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, that's one of those things where you watch somebody with somebody, like the first time you're kind of hanging out, kind of.
Right.
So I don't know. And I took her to so we started dating the next day, and when 2 came out, we went and saw it. So, like, it was very early on, and I don't know if it was just a tolerating thing, because this is new and fresh.
Well, like, when Ashley and I first started dating, we went to see Mission Impossible. I don't remember which one it was.
What year? 2011?
Shit. It was a lot. 9. No.
2006.
Something like that.
It's Mission Impossible 3.
Okay.
And the one where he's married at the beginning of it, and they pull him back in.
Right, and I really don't remember the film because that was like one of our first dates. We were like going out and it's like pretending to hold hands and stuff like that. But that was one of the things where you're wondering if the person you're with is just tolerating the movie you're seeing. Like, does this person really like this movie, or is this something that they're actually into or not?
Right.
And I kind of get the feeling that she watches movies that I like to humor me.
And support.
Yeah, I really think she does that. And
even now.
Even today, yeah.
She won't just be like, I'm not going to watch that.
She will, like, I'll say, hey, do you want to watch this movie? Just came out at Redbox. Do you want to watch this movie with me?
Mm-hmm.
She'll be like,
does she not even really like movies?
She does, but she's more into like the romancy TV show stuff. She likes True Bloods, and she loved Twilight, and
maybe that's what our next movie should be.
This stuff, what's that?
Is like a romantic vampire film.
Ooh, yeah. That sounds great.
Dude, I want to make a fucking vampire movie, though. I've been threatening to write a good vampire movie for a long time.
In defense of the Twilight movies, what the fuck is that kid's name?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
R. Pats.
I think he plays a good vampire. Really, I mean...
You can't even say that, because that is not a good vampire in that movie.
But for the universe that they created, I think that he was a good choice. I think the good-looking people that they chose...
Were good-looking people.
And none of them were terrible actors. The The girl, she was awful.
Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart. I should be able to remember that name for how awful she was.
Oh man!
I'll get sued on the internet for
if you ever watched
defamation of character.
If you ever watched my Patriot Zombie movie, the documentary we made, fucking Olivia fucking talk shit about Kristen Stewart when comparing AJ's acting to Kristen Stewart's.
So yeah, fantastic.
You're a funny guy. You're a real funny
I try
guy.
to be kind of funny.
That's fucking funny. That makes me laugh.
So
what is this, Corey?
That is the swamp creature.
Swamp thing.
Yep.
You're getting all the sun over here.
No, it's okay. It's not really in my face.
It's getting dark.
It is getting dark.
It's almost midnight.
It's dark when I leave on a new schedule. It's fucking brutal. I don't know how you do it.
6 to 2:30?
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 10 years.
I know, but you gotta get up so fucking early.
You have to get up a little bit earlier than me because you come up from Cold Springs.
It takes me right at 12 to 14 minutes, door to door.
Okay, driving.
From if I walk out the house at.
If I'm going really fast, it takes me 3 minutes.
Oh, see, you get a little bit of an advantage over me. I gotta have about 20 to 15 minutes, 15-20 minutes to get to the door.
No, I get up at 5:20. I like being out the door by 5:30.
To get up at 5, I like being out the door by 5:30, but usually it ends up being 5:40.
I get up, I get dressed, I go to the bathroom, I brush my teeth, I leave. I put my shoes on, I grab the keys, I grab my wallet, my watch, my badge, put my jacket, my vest on, and I leave.
Yeah.
I lock the door.
See, I make lunch. And what do you do for lunch?
Nothing.
You
Or
know,
either I'll
lunch?
buy something there.
Or you got like a food truck that comes
Or
around.
like a mini mart.
Inside, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We have one of those too. I thought that was kind of quaint. Like they have like the racks, and it's like being in a store, and they have the candy, and then the chips, and the soda pops, and they have some sandwiches, and some microwavables, and stuff. And it's not overly priced. I mean, it's
super overly priced, dude.
It's
super overpriced.
It's a little overpriced.
It's about.
So I'm by the way, I'm not talking
45%.
I'm not talking about where I work purposefully.
Okay.
Just in case I say something that, gets somebody a little panties in a twist. Not like anybody's ever going to hear it.
We have no audience.
We have 2 listeners.
How many views did we get on the last one?
I have
it's funny.
But I know that my mom and Carl both listen.
Who's Carl?
Carl is
Carl Weathers?
No, Carl Neufeld. He was in Godsalt, you rat bastard. He was an extra. He was one of the cult members at the house during the siege scene.
Oh, well, I didn't get to meet any of those people.
I know, because you were all busy being Mr.
I was
Director.
directing.
Yeah, you were.
I went like this. I went like this. Okay. Everybody, your number. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I call your number, fucking book it backwards. And that was my interaction. But I don't do well with strangers anyway.
You don't, and that's what you get me for.
Look, 109, episode 109, which we now know is really
less than
105. It's got 2 views.
Yeah, it's Carl and my mom.
So who is Carl?
Carl is my wife's girlfriend from way back in the day, Jamie. Her husband's name is Carl.
And he listens to this?
He told me that he listens to our podcast on occasion. He drives for an armored car company.
Uh-huh.
And he has a long route, and he'll listen to it on his phone.
Well, that sucks because these are only on YouTube, so you've got to
Yeah, and that's what he was asking me. He's like, "Hey, can we get this in MP3 form so I can transport it?" So
it'd be nice. I mean, if somebody out there or if you want to look into how to get that done, I'm all for it because I've got all the audio files.
Sure.
Right here, and if there's some place, but see that it starts cutting into money, and suddenly we'll be on some kind of payment plan
or a budget of some sort
to pay for the storage.
To pay for
I was looking at our fucking God Salt on the Without a Box submission page,
Mhm.
you know, and it's like I had to upload a shittier quality version onto IMDb for people to look at it when they're in consideration.
Right.
So they've recently added an option for Vimeo. You can link your Vimeo version of it too. So it's okay, I'll go do that. I'll go upload the good version to Vimeo. And it will cost me $200 for the year to get the 20 gigabyte upload version of Vimeo. There's like a 5 megabyte or something. There's like a 5 gigabyte free version. But the movie is 18 gigabytes. So, like, it costs money to upload things anywhere and to store it. And that's the only problem. Is YouTube's free.
Sure.
I mean, I've sat down.
And it's hosted there.
And it's hosted there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it takes a better mind at that kind of thing for me to do. Like,
Sure.
I could sit down and I can dedicate myself to making it happen. But my head is elsewhere.
Sure.
So, Whiplash.
We never really talked about Whiplash. And to give it a little bit of time that I think it deserves, I thought it was cool.
It was, you know, honestly, when it came out, I was like, what is this? Okay, it's got J.K. Simmons in it. Miles Teller wasn't on my radar until, like, Fantastic Four. And, like, this kid being Reed Richards. But, like, and everyone's like, oh, it's nominated for an Oscar now, and blah, blah, blah. Like, what is this movie, Whiplash? And everyone's saying it's good. So I eventually, only, like, right when I told you to watch it was when I watched it for the first time. And, like, I did think of it's like Keurig over there heating up. I watched it, and I liked it. I thought it was good. But, I mean, and it's simple, which is probably why it's only an hour and 45 minutes long, is because it's about a kid that wants to play drums in this college jazz band.
Right.
But you can't say it like that, because it's not like...
It's not just a jazz band. It's not just a college jazz band. It's like competitive, very serious.
Right. These people take this thing seriously. He's slapping people in the face. He's yelling fuck. He's yelling cunt.
Well, and Simmons' character is this guy that is so in love with the craft of music.
Is
he? He is over the top about how he is.
Is that justified, though? Do you feel that he was justified just because he was all about it?
I don't know that okay, if we were in a real world and this wasn't just a movie that we're talking about, I don't know that I would justify his actions or behavior to his students.
Yeah, but look what happened to him. Like, that's what would happen in the real world.
Exactly. He would end up with nothing.
Well, I mean, he got fucking sued, lost his job because some kid killed himself.
Exactly.
Because of his abusive teaching ways.
Sure.
But you know what? Those kids, they went in there. You saw they were all, when they were piling in that first day. He told them to go in there fucking 6 a.m. in the morning, whatever, 5 a.m. And he stayed until they showed up. Nothing was ever said about it.
Mm-hmm.
And those kids pile in, they're talking, blah, 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 and suddenly they know that he's coming. They straighten up. They stand up. They don't fucking talk.
And I think
those kids allowed him to be abusive towards them, emotionally, physically.
And that's, I don't.
When I say kids, kids, let's say like
these are
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 in that group of 5.
Sure.
5-year age.
So 18 to early 20s.
Late teens, early 20s, yeah.
I don't think that I would justify his behavior. But the people.
Go ahead, keep talking.
In that. The people in that classroom had a view of him. And
nope. They're over. The light switch, goddammit, I was trying to do that silently.
Anyway, their view of that teacher is this guy is the best.
Right. This is
how
he
makes real musicians come out of this school. And if you want to be somebody, you want to be something when you come out of this school, you need to go through him to get there.
You know, obey his orders.
And they're willing to do that. they're willing to subject themselves to that kind of treatment to become the best.
Right.
And there have been other movies about other sports and other activities, coaches and things like that, where you want to be the best, you have to be extreme.
Right. And they're yelling at you. They're in your face. They're saying, "Fuck you! What the fuck is wrong with you? Fucking get your shit together."
Get your shit together.
They're slapping people. They're punching people.
You're not fucking serious about this. Why don't you fucking go home and cry to your mommy? Blah blah blah. But
which is funny because in that scene, he's like, somebody was flat. Somebody was off. Who was it? Who was it? It was over here. It was you, wasn't it? And he fucking bullies that kid into admitting that he was wrong, that he was flat, that his instrument was out of tune. And the kid left, and he's like, he wasn't even out of tune. It was you. But
he didn't know.
He didn't know, and that's the bigger problem.
Sure. Whew, but he was an asshole. I mean, a complete asshole, but he was one of those characters that you love to hate.
I don't think he was. I don't think I was going into this movie like, man, this is the guy that we're going to hate, and I'm going to love hating him. I think he was just the
Generally
guy
an
to
asshole.
hate. Yeah. It wasn't like that funny, kooky, bad guy character that pops up and you hate him.
Like Negan.
I don't know. I haven't watched it.
I love to hate Negan.
But see, Negan's got charisma.
He's spunky.
J.K. Simmons in that movie didn't have charisma. Like he just said, he was just an asshole.
Angry. Yeah.
I mean, fucking Miles Teller in that movie, and this was fucked up because it was kind of like flashbacks to me when I got into my car accident. He's driving the car and he gets hit by a semi-truck. And he gets up and he walks the rest of the way to perform.
He's all covered in blood.
He's covered in blood. He can't, like, his arms are all fucked up. Yeah. And he comes up to him and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he does that again at the end, too.
Yeah. And I think the whole movie builds to the last scene when they're on the stage with the jazz band and
the professional concert in, like, a jazz festival. Festival.
When he's already lost his job at the college and he's doing this with other musicians.
Because he is a name. He has a name that people know in the field.
Exactly. And he intentionally fucks this kid.
What exactly did he do?
He told him. So the kid.
Right, he tells him, like, hey, I'm going to play. I need a drummer because the drummer sucks. And so
he's like, the drummer's not getting it, and you know this stuff. He's like, you know the songs we're doing. He says, you know
we're playing. Yeah,
we're playing Whiplash. We're playing
the other one.
What other tune it is? And I mean, these are fast, high-paced drum tunes.
Right. And he goes in there, he's playing.
And he's like, okay, we're going to start out with this, a new song, and they start playing this song that this kid's never heard of. He doesn't have the sheet music.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, because the kid knew the music for Whiplash and the other ones by heart. Like, he didn't need paper for it.
Yeah.
This other song, he never heard that song. Or he might have heard of it, but he's never played it. He's never looked at the music.
Yeah.
And that's when Simmons' character looks at him and he says, I knew it was you. You fucking think I was stupid.
I caught that. I caught that line.
And that's what that whole concert was about getting back at that kid, because the speech that he gave the musicians before they went out.
How can you even know?
It's not a mystery. I mean, that shit happens, and then like 6 weeks later, the guy gets sued and fired and all this stuff.
But there was other kids. You think he was like the only kid?
You never know. But he had this kid so fired up that it probably was. And there was probably some other information, who knows. But Simmons' character tells the musicians right before they go out on the stage, and says, this is the place where you can make your career. If you impress people tonight, you can make something of yourself. You can become a paid musician.
Mm-hmm.
You can also ruin your life, and you will never play professionally because these people don't forget a name.
Yeah, I remember him saying all that shit.
That was his way of, like, forcing the kid onto stage, being like, okay, we're going to get you up there, and I'm going to make you look like a fucking asshole. Even at the expense of my own, like, he was willing to put it all out there.
He's already got his name.
He's already been fucked up.
It's only as strong as the weakest link. We all know that was the weakest link.
Sure. So
everyone
now
else was on their game.
Exactly. So now the kid looks like a retard, and then the kid walks off stage, and he comes back, and he's like, then he goes for shit. And he's playing 100% spot on. Everything's 100%.
Oh, yeah. Goes crazy. Knocks it out.
And then Sims' character's looking at him, and he's like,
It's so fucked up.
He doesn't know what the fuck is going on, but by the end of that scene, you see the progression. When the kid tells him, "I'll cue you," he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, he's just playing this whole fucking Phil Solo extra part that nobody knows what the fuck is going on. And he is going the fuck off on this kid. And he comes over, he's like, "Dude, what are you doing, man?" He's like, "You fucking knocked it out of the park a second ago.
Yeah, stop now while you're ahead.
You're still playing, and everybody expected you to stop, and you're still playing. I don't get it." Then the kid goes, "I'll cue you." And he just backs off, and then he realizes what he's doing. And he's like really exercising his talent as a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of that scene, they kind of switch back and forth, looking at the kid's eyes and Simmons' eyes, and they're looking back and forth, and you see Simmons smile at the end. And I think they could have taken it further, but they left it alone.
Mm-hmm.
They just chose to end the movie right there, which I was a little bit bent about.
No, you were.
But I wanted more. I wanted resolution. I wanted something to fill the air. At the end, I wanted there to be
a very obvious.
No, not every movie is like that, and that's very common.
Super common. I mean, it's artistic. Sure, we do it
constantly.
Yep.
But that's what leaves people wanting more. And I don't know who wrote that. Somebody wrote that, and that's like some kind of inspiration.
People wanting it more.
Leave them wanting.
Leave them wanting more.
So, anyways. You get the sense at the very end, right before they cut the credit, that he's actually proud of what he's put this kid through to get him to where he is.
It's so fucked up because earlier in the movie where the kid goes to his girlfriend,
he's like,
the way he breaks up with her, it was like the worst breakup ever. Like, it might have been better if he said that he was fucking her mom or something like that. But instead, he gets into her head. He psychologically and emotionally is just like, we're going to break up now because, you know what, it's just going to not work. And these are all the reasons why it's not going to work because you're going to resent me, blah, 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 blah. And we're through. And she's like,
So you're telling me
he didn't give her the chance. Yeah, you're telling me that I'm going to do this. You know for a fact that I'm going to be that person. Like, she could have been the supportive girlfriend.
Absolutely.
She could have stuck around with him no matter what. Even if she never saw him.
And
so fucked up.
Yeah, and there was an overly analytical way to go after it. And some people think like that. Some people are like...
And then he fucking tries to go back to her.
Oh, yeah, that was a big mistake.
I was waiting. She's like, oh, let me ask my boyfriend.
Right?
That's the knife in the gut right there.
Absolutely.
He's like, oh, yeah, no, maybe I'll see you guys there. Peace.
Yeah, see you later. Good talking to you again. Bye. So, yeah, awful fucking bastard, by the way. That was not nice. But that is a good example of how overly analytical people will keep themselves from doing something that they want to do for fear that it won't work out.
Sure.
I've done it to myself. I do it to myself all the time.
Oh, well, I mean, we're our own worst enemy, as they say.
And that was a good, vocalization of how that process works.
He put it all out there.
All at once, too.
Yeah.
Didn't even pause.
No, didn't I?
Oh, man.
So, there's that. Whiplash, we talked
overall, good movie, though.
Yeah.
In general.
I mean, he won the award. JK.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then SNL I asked you to watch. I think that's the only other thing you watched, right?
Yes.
I watched a bunch of movies. I watched a bunch of movies.
I haven't settled in my new schedule enough yet. I'm still trying to catch up.
I think you should watch Night Riders.
I'm going to watch that.
Davis.
I'm going to watch both of those this week and just send me a list.
No, look, you've got the information to go to the Vudu.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff on there. I went through all my DVDs, or almost all of them, pulling all of my numbers out. Yeah, so I'm putting everything on there. So if you just feel like hopping on there, by and large, I've pretty much watched every movie on there, and we can talk about it. And you can be like, oh, hey, I watched these, and then we can discuss it.
Sure. Okay.
Rick and Morty Season 2 is on there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good. Oh, wait. That's Season 2. I think Season 2 is the one I have seen.
You haven't seen Season 1?
I've seen Season 1 also.
I thought you haven't seen Season 2.
I've seen Season 2.
You're current? There's only 2 seasons.
I thought they came out with another one.
No, it's only the 2
so far, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
How did season 2 end?
Bird person's wedding.
Yeah. Okay, so you've seen season 2. Okay. All right. Well, then never mind then. But SNL, I thought the monologue with Dave Chappelle was pretty good.
I mean, Dave Chappelle. I mean,
I'm not a Dave Chappelle fan. I never watched the show.
Never watched
Not
the
once. Show? Not once.
See, and I used to watch it occasionally, so I was kind of familiar with the characters that he brought on, and
well, I liked the monologue,
his style of comedy,
and I liked the cold opening where Kate McKinnon is Hillary Clinton, and she's playing the piano and she's singing Hallelujah, because not only did Hillary lose the election, but also Leonard Cohen died, and that was his song. He died recently. And I liked that, and I liked the monologue. I thought he was funny. And then the rest of it kind of went downhill from there. Like, there was one where it was him and Chris Rock. Chris Rock came on, and they were watching the election. That's what's happening with, like, 3 white people. So, I mean, that was funny. And then the one where he's still breastfeeding at his age was pretty cute. But then, like, there was one sketch where, like, they're doing, like, a sketch, and then they drop the ball and they go to a press conference and they're like, so what happened? What went wrong in that sketch? I didn't really get it. I didn't understand what was funny about that.
Didn't get the content.
I mean, like, oh, okay, so the sketch sucked, and now we're doing a press conference as to why it sucked. I didn't.
Might have been some kind of pop culture thing that we missed out on. I don't know.
I mean, maybe. You know, there was this Christopher Walken sketch that I had seen, and I didn't get it at the time.
Right.
And then years later, when I watched it again, I don't think that's going to be the case with this. I'm an adult. I think I pretty much know everything I'm going to know. But I watched it.
Oh, that's what that was about.
Yeah, no, like, it's this sketch where Christopher Walken is like a Union general, not a Union, a Confederate general, and he comes back from the war, and he's a colonel, and his last name is Angus, and they keep saying, like, Colonel Angus, and
I've seen that one.
They say it in all these different contexts where they're like, oh, Colonel Angus, and he's like, well, I guess I'm not a colonel anymore, so we'll have to go with my first name, Anal Angus.
Anal Angus.
You know, and, like, I didn't really, and, you know, everyone was laughing, like, you know, the audience was laughing when I saw it the first time, and it's like I didn't get it. And it's not like I was young and stupid. I knew what that was, but it just hadn't evolved enough in my head. It hadn't matured enough in my head to where I watched it. It's like, oh my god, this is pretty funny. I get it now. Colonel Angus. But anyways, anything else? Are we good? Oh, I do have one thing.
One thing?
One thing.
Lay it on me.
Okay, so I got this text. Let's see.
Is it from my wife?
No, it's not. Did she text me?
No.
Do you know what that is?
That's me punching Dakota in the face, I think.
Yeah. Greg sent me this.
He put some drum beats to it.
He said, lesson here is don't piss off Corey.
I like the way that scene came off.
So,
I like the way that particular little piece of film looked.
Punching
I was actually thinking about the film.
Street Cuts.
Yeah.
You know, I watched Street Meets Pavement and Godsalt recently. I watched Godsalt last night, actually, most of it. I didn't get all the way through. Those movies aren't bad. Anyways, should we wrap it up?
I think we should wrap it.
All right. Well,
wrap it up like a burrito.
It was a pretty good episode.
I think so. Yeah, we had some good times.
Next week, are we doing the commentary with your dad?
Yeah. I'll get a direct time for him. A day that we're going to do it will be probably after 5. But
sure. Well, I'll probably work until about 5 on my worst days.
Sure. So, yeah, next week, commentary.
Alien.
Director's cut.
Are we going to watch the director's cut?
Dad wants to do the director's cut.
Okay. I think that's the better.
And I think generally the director's cut, when they release a director's cut of a film, it ends up being more like what it should have been.
That's not always true. You know what's funny is
the
Alien director's cut is shorter than the theatrical cut.
Is that right?
I think so.
Like, and you can.
And he adds shit, so it's like, what did he take out? Did you watch it?
I'm gonna watch it this weekend.
Okay.
But
I watched the director's cut.
not to go on and on and on, but the director's cuts, just to clarify, that I have seen, for the most part, there's not a ton of difference, but you can see where the differences are if you're a fan of whatever movie it is you're watching the other cut of.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gone in 60 Seconds.
I didn't like.
Nicolas Cage.
I didn't like the
extended version, the director's cut or whatever.
I don't remember if it was director's or extended, but I didn't like it as much as the theatrical. Theatrical is a lot tighter.
It is. The theatrical version is much tighter, but I can also see why. Because some things in the movie make a little bit more sense. And they're minuscule. They don't. It wouldn't even matter if you cut the whole idea.
There were some
out
scenes in there that I didn't like that they took out and replaced with. Like there's a scene where him and Giovanni Ribisi's like making him some eggs and some weird shit and puts too much salt in there and it's terrible. And they took that scene out and replaced it where him and Giovanni Ribisi are like talking on the
couch. They're sitting on the couch, right? On the porch.
They're sitting on the porch.
Okay.
And I didn't like that change. And like the car chase at the end where like there are big cylinders of gas that are flying by, like that wasn't in the theatrical, I don't think. And I just like, theatrical is much tighter, much better.
Yeah.
But this is a whole nother.
It is another. Well, and we can discuss this when we do the commentary. Because there's a reason why my dad wanted to do the director's cut. It was his idea, not mine.
Are you watching? You're watching the theatrical. I think one of us should at least watch the theatrical.
I'll probably try to watch both.
You'll watch both?
Over the weekend.
I've already watched the director's cut.
Okay.
So I think it will be apropos for someone to watch the theatrical.
Okay.
So
well, maybe I'll just watch the theatrical.
Just watch the theatrical.
Okay. I'll watch the theatrical and you guys watch the
director's cut. Because if you watch the director's cut, it might mix in your head. But if you only watch the theatrical, you'll be able to point out differences a little bit better.
We can grind
Do you have the theatrical?
I
asked you last week.
I have the director's.
So
that's the one I have, so maybe I'll grab it from you.
Okay. All right, well, with that, we'll see you next week with Alien commentary.
And more beer.
All right. Peace out, homie.